you needed examples of the transition of Pluto in Capricorn to Pluto in Aquarius, the best example I could give anybody right now are these congressional hearings with the TikTok CEO guy. You will possibly have noticed, if you watched it, that the group, which Aquarius is indicative of a group of people who you identify with. So everybody in DC, Congress, that's an Aquarian thing. A Pluto and Capricorn thing, also Congress, all the old buggers, all this old shit going on. And then, of course, the CEO guy who doesn't want to, he knows that he's wrong. So this is why brother was very dearly trying to pull his best Mark Zuckerberg that he could, and he failed at it. When we are talking about, first of all, major generational planetary shift, well, even though Pluto went into Aquarius today, March 23rd, 2023, it is only at 0 degrees. I mean, it might be a couple inches, feet afterwards, but it's going to be at 0 degrees for a minute. And then this coming mid-June, like second week of June, a couple days before, it's going to retrograde back to Capricorn. So what we're getting right now from today until, say, June 12, 13, 14, is we're getting, the only way I could even describe it, is learning to ride a bike, where it takes you a little bit of time to take, initiative to learn, first of all. When you're learning something new that you need to and have to learn, one of your parents was pushing you along just to get on the bicycle. And then as soon as you got good on a bicycle, your parents then decided, okay, we're going to take the training wheels off. And then you were learning how to ride this bicycle, you fell down, you made cherries on your knees, you go bang yourself up, but then one day, it was nothing. You could do it, you could get places fast, you could even ride without holding onto the handlebars, right? So anytime a generational planet, especially Pluto, because we'll never see it go into Aquarius again. We are not going to see it, lots of us. I may not see it go into Pisces. My children, hopefully, will still be around. They might see it. In fact, 25 years, they're going to see it. I might not. Anyhow, what we saw today with this congressional hearing was a very Capricornian thing. Okay, it's kind of like, okay, folks, here it is. Here is what we have been presented with in at least one area, which is how are we communicating with each other, and how is the rest of the world seeing, specifically the United States, and further, how are they seeing it? They're seeing it on social media. A lot of us, get information about a lot of things, and a lot of that information is misinformation. So when we're talking about a major planetary transit, it does take a little bit. I got plenty emails today, plenty texts, plenty chat messages, phone calls, the whole bit. Auntie, I'm tripping. How come? Well, the other thing a lot of astrologers, including myself, don't remind everybody of is we just had one, not a generational planet, going to Pisces. We just saw Saturn do that 2 weeks ago, maybe. Wait, what's today? 23. Yeah, right around 2 weeks ago. So there's a lot of generational stuff going on. There's a lot of change going on. Pluto, we are so used to hearing about Pluto being ruled by Scorpio, and Scorpio rules the genitals. And so what you think everybody thinking? When you take the word Pluto and think about it being a root word for a lot of other words like plutonium, plutonic, plutocrat. Okay, so when you saw that thing today about TikTok in Congress, literally that was a room full of plutocrats, plenty of them. The ones who really didn't have much to say are the really old buggers. You notice that they didn't have much to say, yeah? Pluto and Capricorn is why. Old goats think that way. And then, of course, you know, plenty of people don't realize that when we have all these major changes, you're probably not going to be able to stay in the same way of doing plenty things, okay? Because Pluto, again, plutonic, plutonium, what do those things do? Another feature of all of this is people are really angry with the boomer generation, which is the Pluto and Leo generation. Leo is opposite Aquarius on that wheel, okay? It is 6 houses away from Leo. So if you have the Pluto and Leo generation being opposed by Pluto and Aquarius, well, there's only a few things I can say about that. Number one, Pluto and Leo, plenty of those people are senior citizens now. Lots of them are nearing 80 years old. Okay. Lots of them are still very attached to the way that things used to be. They are still hanging on to the past. There's one person who I can absolutely say exemplifies this, which would be Madonna. Have you seen what she's done to her face? I don't like Judge, so I'm not going to say more. Okay, but when a major planet changes signs, lots of crazy, insane shit happens, meaning that you're going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be like learning to ride a bicycle all over again. And what happens when Pluto changes signs is that it also changes society. It is a generational planet. All the babies born from today, March 23rd, for the next 20 years. Pluto and Aquarius. Myself, born 1970. I am Pluto Virgo. Okay, my kid brother, he's Pluto in Libra. But those two generations make up Generation X. Prior to us, Pluto and Leo. Those are our parents, the boomers. So when you break it down this way, you can absolutely see the plutonic energy and the change coming with each subsequent generation. This will not be different. The children born now, today on, will be very technologically advanced. When I was a child, technology was a Tonka trunk and a shovel to go fill a bugger up. Now, there's toys with one robot go dig the hole, fill the truck up for you, and build whatever it is you're trying to build. Okay, so there's a lot of difference. Okay, where Pluto and Leo actually had to entertain themselves and become entertaining themselves. And became very full of themselves, plenty of them, which birthed us, Generation X, also known as the latchkey generation. Okay, so Pluto is a generational planet. When Pluto changes signs, a new generation is being born into our world, and it will continue that way for 20 years. If the people on this planet could just go, that's what it is, and understand the way each sign behaves, how it processes things, how it loves, how it hates, how it works, we would have a better understanding for real not just of each other, but we would be less inclined to go, well, grandma, that sucks, and mean it. Okay. We would be more inclined to go, oh, really? How come? We're not taught that way. We're taught always, up until now, because Pluto and Aquarius is the group, how to do things as a group, how to make a collective effort. That's something we don't know. Okay. My own generation was taught, or actually told. Very few of us were taught anything. We were told to do something, and yeah, it always ended up coming out kind of fucked because we were told to do things. Rarely were we taught enough to where we would understand what we're doing, which is why all this time later, what it really is that that's how our parents' generation was taught. Do it right the first time, or you don't do it at all. Okay, well, show us. They never did. Why? Plenty of them was off, chasing their own life, making, I can fry it up on a pan. Who remembers that commercial? That I can bring home the bacon commercial. You remember the commercial? That is the rallying cry of the mothers who bore my generation, where because of the way that they were raised, they didn't know really any other way than, even if the spouse was cheating, there was no divorce right away. It didn't come until the kids were a little bit older, right? Like when I was a teenager, okay, my parents never divorced. They founded a church. Quit laughing. They founded a church. So, they lived by that. But plenty of their friends, my aunties, a couple of my uncles, all in that boomer generation, divorced. Why? Because they figured out they weren't happy with the person they married. And so, why not? Okay, so you get plenty funny kind stuff going on, right? Everything had to be perfect. And if it wasn't, it was never their fault. Enter Generation X, Pluto and Virgo. Now, my generation, the latchkey generation, we actually had to survive childhood. We had to make it through because our parents were not our grandparents. Okay, and as much as a lot of us had parents that parents and grandparents who doted on us, lots of us were not at all. We were just an extension of our parents. And so that was one more hand to do the dishes and one more hand for clean the living room, take out the trash, all that kind of stuff. And our parents just, okay, mom, okay, dad, here we come. We go clean the whole house up, go take out the trash, feed the dog, all that kind. And it was never good enough. Okay, so the expression a lot of Generation X, facial expression that we wear, is one that was created through that shit called constructive criticism, which, if you thought about that, you're building somebody up to knock them down. When I presented that to my boomer mom, oh yeah, she went out of her mind. How dare I question her and blah, blah, blah. But years later, when I had my own daughter and she's doing stupid shit, those words never came out of my mouth. Okay, so there is the way that you figure out what the trip is of a certain generation. Okay, Pluto tends to go for anywhere between 15 to 20 years. It's doing that this time. Okay, so now where it was Pluto and Leo, they are seeing the opposite now. They are living through that opposite, their sign, Pluto and Aquarius. And well, when you have opposing signs, lots of astrologers will freak you out. Go to the opposition. It's too hard. Oh, no. once you learn how to deal with it, once you understand what's going on, once you study those signs and planets, you begin to understand that the opposition is not against each other. It doesn't have to be. It could be a balance. Nobody thinks that way. So, I do. Of course I do. I'm a Pisces. I'm going to see both sides. So I see both sides of this. Pluto is not going to harm you. Okay? What Pluto is going to do is going to make you have to identify who you are through the group. Okay, a good one is a very good one, in fact, is the us versus them, the government versus all the rest us guys. Okay, the Pluto and Capricorn guys versus all of us. That's what it feels like, because that's what it is right now. It's the 1%, the super duper empowered daily through Pluto and Aquarius, losing that power to who? The collective, Aquarius, which is who, you folks? In the United States, it begins our freedom here. We, the people, the collective. Meaning that we could see lots of uprisings. Am I saying it's going to happen? No, I'm saying we could see it. A good, indicator of this is this, Russia and Ukraine. Well, way back then, 1777, 8, and 9, American Revolution and the French Revolution. So we're just going through this again, except for the Pluto situation is just a different Earth now, and there's different people here, but the energy caused by the planet's going to be the same. So it's going to be very interesting to watch not only the rest of these congressional hearings, but also the way that certain groups, identifying as they will, no, I'm not talking about any trans anything, just who do you identify? Myself, I'm Hawaiian, I'm also mom, I'm an astrologer, all these kind of things. I can identify with anything. But the thing I identify the most with is I am Kanaka Maole. I am Hawaiian. I'm Hawaiian before I am anything else. So the group who I identify with also has all these little smaller groups that I also identify with. Moms, astrologers, hula dancers and teachers, people who cook plenty good Hawaiian food, on and on and on and on. But you will notice that we're going to either find out we belong with these people, or we're going to find out for sure that we never did. Or we've grown out of it and we identify with these guys, right? The other very interesting thing here is that we have all of these things going on with gender identity. And the only thing I'm going to say there is that it became more and more and more in our face, all of these identifying as women, pretty much telling us women that, well, you girls don't belong, we're here to take over. That, to me, just screams patriarchy. Why? Obvious physical reasons. Now, people can say that I'm transphobic, that I hate, that this and that, but that is crap. Okay? Another feature, I don't have to agree with everything going on in the world. It is not black and white. I don't have to agree with anybody. Neither do you. But going to be groups of people who identify as whatever they're going to identify at, calling us who just call them by their name. They're going to be telling us that we're phobic. No, we're not. We're actually just being who we are. Those kind of things are going to come to a very slow rolling stop, because the other thing that Pluto provides us with is shaking the shit out of something until the truth comes out. As you can see, with the end of Pluto in Capricorn, big business is just jacked up, right? Yes, it is. The church, no matter which religion you follow, also checked up. How come? Plenty nasty things going on with, the guys in charge and kids. Everything that called for absolute power, called for, somebody to have, one guy holding all the power. Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, this TikTok guy. Funny how he's at the end of Pluto and Capricorn, at the beginning of Pluto and Aquarius, right? So he's kind of the poster child for that. And child in comparison to all those guys? Oh, yeah. I mean, he's not older than any of them. So there are a lot of parallels that you can see just based on the things that I know are the truth of that planet and the signs. And right now, we're seeing all these big power structures, patriarchal power structures coming apart. The economy, number one. Our freedoms to do plenty of things, including identify as biological females. I mean, there's plenty of shit going on that will show us the transition. Okay, and the transition from Capricorn to Aquarius Pluto, at least in my opinion, has been going on the last 2 years. Okay, so there's my big long-winded painting, Pluto and Capricorn going into Pluto and Aquarius. You can send me a DM, Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. If you are a woman, I have a private group on Facebook. Somewhere in, it's somewhere. If you DM me, I will send you the link. And I'll be back. There's so much going on in the sky right now, but that one thing is a huge thing. Oh yeah, and everything, damn nearly everything, in your personal planets, with exception to Jupiter, I think. I gotta go look. All in Aries. I'll be back to explain those. Bye.